Hello everybody, Trano here, and today we're taking a look at the top tier German vehicle, the Leopard 2 A7V. And so this is the new rank 8 top tier tank, and it's coming after the Leopard 2 PSO at battle rating 11.7. Okay, so the first thing you might have noticed is that it's just this weird blue-purple colour. It's not actually intended to be like that. Basically, a lot of the unfinished textures are this colour, so you can see these aren't purple on the actual wire mesh bit. When it's actually released, it will actually be a proper camouflage colour. I could see them maybe bringing this back as an Easter egg because it's been like this for so long. And the main difference between this and the previous vehicles is the new longer barrel. So it's got a length 55 gun instead of the length 42 of the previous guns. And so for the gun itself, it carries 37 rounds, so a little bit less than the PSO, which carries 42. It's got the same reload rate, same first stage ammo storage, same vertical guidance and targeting speed, and two-plane gun stabilizer. The main difference between this and the previous guns is its muzzle velocity that it fires its shells at. So it fires the same shell, so the Heat-FS shell is unchanged except for a little higher muzzle velocity, so it should in theory be easier to hit longer range targets. It's got 50 meters a second more muzzle velocity. The DM11 HE timed fuse shell is exactly the same. The DM33 has 50 meters a second more muzzle velocity, so this does 486mm penetration at 500 meters instead of 470, and the DM53 has about 80 meters a second more muzzle velocity and does 640mm penetration at 500 meters compared to the previous 610mm. So there has been a fairly substantial increase. I mean, it depends what round you're firing. So with the 53, it penetrates 30mm more armor. The DM33 only does about 16mm more penetration, which obviously will be a bit of a help in some edge cases, but for the most part, I think this is just going to make it slightly easier to aim and target enemies. And the gunner has optics of 4x zoom to 12x zoom, and the commander has 2x zoom to 8x zoom. And then, of course, to complement the ammunition, you've got the two 7.62mm machine guns, one on the roof, one in a coaxial position. You've got your smoke grenades to aid in concealment. Got thermal vision devices for the gunner, tank commander, and driver, with a night vision device as backup for the tank commander. You can add mine protection in if you really want to. And it comes with a laser rangefinder, but not a laser warning system, which can be a bit of a pain in the top tiers, but we'll have to see how big of a deal that is when it's released properly. The armour for the most part seems mostly unchanged. Well, so there's less composite screens around the side here. Some of them are 100mm, some are 50mm, but they don't stretch as far back as on the PSO. Same thing for the turret, and so this area here only has high hardness rolled armour, which on the right isn't such a huge problem because you've got all this internal armour, but on the left, you've only got a little bit of spaced armour to really protect your ammo storage, so that could be a bit of an issue. So just look at the Leopard 2 PSO for a second here. You can see this composite armour stretches back far more than on the A7V, and you can see it does cover that weak spot at the rear of the turret. For the rest of the tank, there doesn't seem to be too many other changes in regards to armour, so some of this is at a slightly different angle. So this is 53 degrees. On the PSO, it's about 52 degrees. And there's this 40mm bit of armour down here. I'm not entirely sure if that's related to the mine protection system that can be fitted. I'm not sure if it's showing with it fitted or without. But obviously, that does help a little bit. Well, it would help against mines or shells that explode under there, but that's not going to happen very often. Maybe if you're cresting over a hill, I saw somebody suggest in a previous comment. And the rest of this seems broadly the same as on the Leopard 2 PSO. Might be some minor changes. You've got your composite screens, of course, which helps against heat rounds. And it does also carry composite armour still, so this seems to be about the same as on the Leopard 2 PSO. Composite armour here, around the mantlet, 400 to 600mm. Turret cheeks, which are particularly well protected. Sides of the tank, and then you've got this spaced armour at this weak spot here. And the guys on the right do have a little bit of composite armour to help protect them on the right there. And you've got an internal wall of RHA armour between the crew compartment and the engine. And you've got some more sort of little bit all over the place on the tank. Like I say, you've got it in the middle of the tank here, which provides additional protection if you're shot from the right. And then moving on to the engine, it's a weaker engine than the Leopard 2 PSO, and unfortunately, despite the lower weight, that doesn't cancel out the reduction in engine power. So the Leopard 2 PSO has a top speed forward of 42 miles per hour on 10 gears. The A7V only does 38 miles per hour on 8 gears. And again, the PSO has 6 gears for reverse, giving a 20.3 mile per hour top speed in reverse. This only does 17.2 miles per hour on 4 gears, which is still a respectable speed, but obviously it is a bit of a reduction. And then you've got your standard crew. So you've got your driver down here at the front of the tank next to the ammo storage, which is a bit of a weak spot if the frontal armour is penetrated. And you've got your commander who can fire the main armament and gunner as well on the right side of the turret and the loader on the left side of the turret. Now, unfortunately, I can't take this for a test drive. And yeah, this seems like a fairly substantial change. I mean, it's a bit weird. Like I say, the M1A2 SEP V2 doesn't really seem to have much changes. The T90M has quite a lot of armour. This has a fairly substantial gun upgrade. And this is kind of more what I was expecting from a rank 8 tank. You know, it's not quite a paradigm change like with the T90M, but it is a change. It is a fairly decent improvement. Whether it'll be enough to, you know, mark this out as a massively superior tank, we'll have to see. And of course, there probably will be some changes before it's released on the live server, but again, we'll just have to see when it is actually released. Anyway, this is just a quick video looking at the Leopard 2 A7V. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll join me for the next video. I've been Tyranno, and I'll see you next time.